Hello, everybody. Well, good morning here from Summerfield, Florida. It's 7 o'clock in the morning here on Sunday, God's day, the day of the Sabbath. And I'm continuing on with my third video of my testimony here at Saved by Grace. In that last video, I was telling you about the tragic day. My wife and I's affirmations for one another in the morning. Anyway, I left off with Jezebel 1 and Jezebel 2. And anyway, I will continue. Well, the next day I was... Oh, wait. That was about Jezebel. After everything I seen, my wife's camper stuck in that... My wife's soul stuck in that camper. You think I actually bowed down and surrendered to God right then and there? No. No. Moving on. By this time, Grace's ashes had come back from the crematory. I was going to bring them out to California so her family could bury her there. At this point, I was so tired of life, I couldn't even drive for 5 minutes at a time. I made it to Biloxi, Mississippi, and turned around and went back home. It was now July 3rd, 2020, and I went back into that camper with my uncle. I had a one-sided conversation with Grace. Well, obviously, I couldn't hear her, but she could hear me, and you'll soon know why. I said, Grace, I know that you're still here. I don't know if you even realize that when you shot yourself, that you died. Instead of going wherever you were supposed to go, your soul just stayed here in this camper. I didn't know what you mean. I know you didn't mean what you said before you killed yourself, and that you really still love me, and I believe that's why she was stuck there. I continued to talk to her about our lives together. After I was done, I said, Grace, if you can understand anything I've said to you, please knock on a wall or something. And as fast as I got done saying those words, I heard a light knock at the rear wall of that trailer. My uncle and I were stunned. Very stunned. The next day on July 4th, 2020, Independence Day now has a new meaning to me. At 3:45 in the afternoon, I was going to bring Grace's dog, Garth, a big black German Shepherd, out to the camper to see her. I always heard that dogs and other animals have like this extra sensory perception to see spirits or ghosts. And at that same time, my uncle said to me, George, look at the security cameras. And I'll tell you now that in all of my 5 years of owning those security cameras, I never seen anything like which had appeared. Eventually I'll be uploading that so y'all can see. I want you all to see. So then you will come to know the truth. As I know, as my aunt and uncle were amazed by the scene that was unfolding. I walked out to that camper with Garth. As soon as I opened that door, Garth ran straight for that chair that Grace used to sit at the back of the camper in the living room. Garth had been very depressed for the last 2 weeks because his mom wasn't there. His ears were perked straight up. Eyes were wide open. I mean, this dog came out of depression real quick. And his tail was wagging like it was never before. He was sitting at the foot of the chair, as if Grace was just petting him on his head. I sat in the chair next to her and started talking to her. And I reached my hand over like this, you know. We used to touch each other all the time, you know, I'd put my hand on her leg or whatever, just to show affection. After a couple of minutes, my aunt and uncle came in. And we all prayed for her. When they were done, I said their goodbyes to her. I went back into the house. I was done everything. When I was done saying everything I needed to say to Grace, I then said, Grace, if there's a light that you can see anywhere in this camper, please go to it. Please go to it, love. And when I finished that sentence, there was this loud, it was a shocking thud on the ceiling of that camper, right in the kitchen. That angel took flight and ascended into heaven to carry Grace home. Now, Psalm 34:7 says, the angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. Well, that angel took Grace home to God. I walked out of that camper, went back into the house. My uncle said that the cloud disappeared when Garth and I came out of the camper. The next morning, my cousin said I was in the kitchen praying with all my might. I don't know how many people have been to the gates of heaven before they died, but I was there. And I saw 2 white, brightly shining pillars. If Grace's soul would have been 14 feet round in circumference, those pillars would have been 200 feet tall. And in between the 2 pillars was a ball of light, and that ball of light was speaking to me in the voice of Grace. And she said, George, I made it. Thanks to the prayers that you're praying, I made it. I will see you again. I will see you again one day. I love you. And Grace had been the happiest that I ever heard or seen her in that time that we spent together. And while she was talking, I was looking off all around in the distance, as much as I wanted to see my wife. There were a bunch of balls in the light in the background. And those balls of light made one big, overpowering light with all of them together. And behind the pillars were balls of light, as if they were in a line, waiting patiently to cross those pillars. Behind all of that were stars. Just stars everywhere, as far as I could see in the distance. If you go to Genesis 28:17 in the Lord's Holy Bible, It says, and he was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God. And this is the gate of heaven. Those were truly the gates of heaven. All the people, all them souls were waiting there for their loved ones to come. I'm sure my mom was there, my son, everybody that she had loved in her life, her grandpa Albert, her grandma. She always talked about these people. Now she's up there with them. To me, that proves that if you really believe in God, you can be saved. You can be saved for anything. I will never change my mind about that. Anyway, my cousin asked me one time how far heaven was away. Well, if Grace took off into heaven at 4:45 in that afternoon, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe almost 6. It takes roughly 11 hours to get to heaven from Summerfield, Florida. That's my honest belief. How they get there, how fast they fly, I don't know. But it takes 11 hours to get to heaven. Well, the gates of heaven anyway. From somewhere, I see that there's 12 levels to heaven, the kingdom of God. Anyway, I came out of that vision to my cousin talking to me about me being saved. And if you knew my cousin, he isn't a man of very many words. With all the miracles that just happened, you would think a person like me would give up sin and surrender to the Lord God right then and there. I still didn't stop there. In James 4:17, it says, whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him is a sin. Well, I hopped on the sin wagon just to numb the pain. At that point, Grace was in heaven, and this was the beginning of my journey alone in life. But not for much longer, because God's humbling was already in action. His plan for me was to bring me to my knees so that I would bow before him. Then I can rise up and continue on. You know, it's hard to describe all this to you. It's very hard, but I'm getting stronger. And I feel an urgency to share these things with all of you out of love. And again, I say out of the glory of God. For the glory of God. On July 7th, which were in the videos prior, the first ones, every ending has a new beginning. I brought Grace's cremains to Isla Mirada. I just felt it was right. I got backlash from her family, but I did it anyway. It was either a body farm for Grace or bring her to Isla Mirada. Anyway, my mom died on. You'll find out, but you should already know if you've been there. But my mom passed away, and I brought her there. Our son Georgie passed away, and we brought them there. At some point, I'll have to upload the video of us dumping those ashes down there in Isla Mirada. And Isla Mirada is in the Florida Keys. This was the first time in my life that I ever gave a service for anyone, let alone pray for somebody with any kind of faith in God. At that moment, I had been sober from meth for 3 days. A couple days later, I asked my cousin if he could go anywhere in the United States, where he'd want to go. His reply was Las Vegas, Nevada, George. And you know what? I thought to myself, Sin City. This would be a great place to start a ministry and help to find the lost souls that come to the Lord. With everything that I didn't know about God, it made this the worst place to go on a mission for God. In James 3:1 and 2, it says, "Not many of you should become teachers, my brothers. For you know that we who teach will be judged with greater strictness. For we all stumble in many ways. And if anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able also to bridle his whole body." Well, I haven't figured out what bridling his whole body means yet, but I'm not perfect. How one becomes perfect, I have no idea. But I think it's a metaphor anyway, because when you're in the flesh, the stuff is evil. The flesh is evil. That's why we're all sinners. No one on this earth of the flesh can say that they're not sinners. Well, I was not ready to be a teacher or even a preacher with little knowledge I had. But we were determined to go out and take the sin out of Sin City. We were going to smack it out of there. That's how determined I was. So we packed up my 2008 Ford F-350 and took off for Las Vegas on the 9th of July, 2020. Oh, by the way, if you want to actually read my testimony, I'll leave a link up there, down there on the bottom so you can go to it. But that's at Christian Leaders Institute. ChristianLeadersInstitute.org. And what you want to do when you go to ChristianLeadersInstitute.org, you go to the homepage, and then you look up the global leaders, and then you put in my name, Dupuy Wilson. And when you put in Dupuy Wilson, it'll pull up my profile. All of you are welcome to go there. Anyway, on July 11th, 2020, we were in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I wanted to go to church that day, the next day. And COVID-19 had, you all know, we are all stuck in our houses. COVID had most places closed to the public. I've been wanting to see Jesse Duplantis give a service. I like him. That Cajun can really preach. And you know what? When you give effort, this is something that he said, but when you give effort, effort is the seedbed of prosperity. What's wrong with prospering when you help save other people? When you have millions of people saved behind your belt, and you give out. It's my intention to give out everything that I make. But what's the problem with prospering? Anyway, I'm not going to go into that right now because I'm trying to give you my testimony. So we continued on to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and found a church called the Healing Place. We went to church there, well, that evening as the sun went down. Written across the sky in front of the sun and the horizon. I get goosebumps whenever I think of these things. But it said Jesus across the sun. I was amazed at what I'd seen. So I'd never seen anything. I've seen shapes and stuff written in the clouds, you know what I mean? But never words. This was the beginning of the things that I was starting to see. And I'd never seen anything like that ever. On Sunday, July 12th, after we attended church, we would continue down the road. That church was a good service. And little did I know more signs would be shown to me that day. Acts 2:19. If you want to go there and check out Acts 2:19. I mean, along with my testimony, at some point I want to be a Bible preaching preacher. It's all about the Word of God. Acts 2:19 says, "And I will shew wonders in heaven above, and signs in the earth beneath, blood and fire and vapor of smoke." That vapor of smoke to me is in the form of clouds. By the end of this testimony, you're either going to think I'm crazy or you're going to believe that there are signs from God here. I believe that there's signs from God. Other people have seen these things and bear witness to what I've seen. Whether or not these people talk to him anymore or not, that's another story. But I've always tried to be generous, and then I'm broken down with manipulation from other people and made out to be this evil person. Anyway, that's in my past. That baggage is gone. It's gone. I've tried to do the best that I could and do it out of love and generosity all my life. Anyway, continuing on. When Grace was alive, we always had this plan. When I got down to 250 pounds, we would go skydiving, going back to the present day. As we were heading up Interstate 49 in Louisiana, these clouds in the form of fat, oversized skydivers were falling from the sky. I thought to myself, this is crazy. And I didn't say a word about what I seen. I mean, they were coming down. Big, puffy, white clouds, and they had their cheeks blowing up. Then not even I just thought it was crazy. And not even 5 minutes later, I asked a friend, my cousin and I and another friend who I called Mary Magdalene. She wasn't no Mary Magdalene, though. Anyway, I asked a friend what was written in the clouds straight in front of us, to the north, on Interstate 49. In the clouds, it was written, Las Vegas, clearly across the sky. The rest of that day, as I was looking around and driving and just enjoying myself as much as I could, the word love was written in the clouds more than a dozen times. I knew right then and there that God was talking to me. As of the 12th of July, I had been sober for 8 days. See, I'm telling you this so that you see where I'm at. And at the end, I ask you, psychosis or signs from God? That, I let be your decision, but I know what I believe. I've told you what I believe. Anyway, on July 14th, 2020 at 1 a.m., we made it to Las Vegas and found a suite at the top of a nice hotel on the Strip. When my cousin and I woke up at 8 a.m. that morning, we made a plan to go to Area 51. As we were headed down the Strip, I saw a gas station with so many homeless, lost souls going in and out of this convenience store. If they ever see my testimony, hi guys, you remember me. They were going out of this gas station though, and I felt bad for them. I immediately stopped. I had 24 military meals ready to eat. I handed out all these MRAs that I had in about 10 minutes, along with praying for everyone the best I could. So I was still learning how to pray. At 10 a.m., my cousin and I left for Area 51. 3 hours later, we arrived there. I actually sat at the gates praying for the people back there. They know because they have it on camera. Anyway, we sat there, we walked up this hill, and we're looking at these white Ford Raptors. Those are nice vehicles. God bless you guys out there. After upon sitting at the gate for an hour, and yeah, we were waiting for some kind of alien encounter, just to be honest. It never happened. So we left. 20 minutes later, the truck's engine blew up a couple miles north. Well, it blew up farther back as we were coming out of Area 51, but we ended up getting stopped north of Alamo, Nevada. I didn't realize that we were that close because I would have driven into town. But I called for a tow truck, and as we were waiting for this tow truck to arrive, a man and a boy pulled over to help us. This cross right here. I had a cross with Jesus. I had this cross around my neck. They sat there staring at it as if it was like the devil or something. Little did I know, there's a religious sect of Mormons in that area of Nevada. And anyway, I'm not sure exactly how it goes. I mean, if you want to enlighten me on the whole entire subject. But their steeple on their churches, you don't see crosses, but the steeple on their churches goes quite straight up. Anyway, after they left, the tow truck didn't arrive. And from 4 p.m. until midnight, we sat and waited because, well, we left my mission. We left the mission in Sin City. That's what I was supposed to go there for. That was my first sin. Anyway, the truck blew up. Oh, God left us in the desert to think about what we did. What I did. It was very hot that day in the desert. Anyway, if you go to Exodus 3:1 through 6, it says, Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There, the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight. Why does the bush not burn up? When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am, Lord. I keep getting these goosebumps. I keep feeling the redemption, the grace that comes down within me. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they keep happening. And God said, do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then God said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this moment, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. Well, the only people that can look at God. I don't even think in the flesh you'd be able to look at God. There's only one person that ever took a walk with God and was able to walk into heaven. And that was Enoch. I'm still learning about that story, but he's the only one. Continuing on. After upon the tow truck showing up, the driver told me what had happened and the reason why I was persecuted and judged by the Mormon people. Well, God bless them. It's okay. Going back to the Bible, let's turn to Matthew 7, 1 through 5. Judge not, that ye not be judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in your brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in your own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine own eye? And behold, a beam is still stuck in your own eye. Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt see clearly to cast out the mote of thy brother's eye. Well, there was a big pine tree stuck in my eyes. You know, when you learn not to judge, I mean, facts are facts, thieves are thieves, addicts are addicts. I'm recovering myself. As a matter of fact, today is 9/13/2020, and tomorrow will be 1 month. Let's see how much time we're at. Whoa, we're at 32 minutes. I don't even know if I can upload that. I'm going to leave it off there. So there was still a big tree stuck in my eye. I'm going to leave it off there and continue to make another video after I make some breakfast for my father, change his diaper and everything else. Anyway, God bless you guys, and I hope I can upload this. Talk to you soon, and God bless you. Safe travels wherever you go. Peace, love, and hope. I love you guys. Namaste.